We are on the air whenever you want to start.
So sorry, I didn't see the light come on. I would like to open the business session for the Berea Planning Commission, January 24th at 6 o'clock. And I call the meeting to order. And any visitors in the audience for anything that is not on the agenda? Okay, I think not. All right, we have some new, we have some new, one new person for the Planning Commission. I would like to say to Phil Malacott and Jeff Reed, they decided not to come back, and how much we appreciate all that both of them did. They were excellent commission members. All right, well, Greg, we're happy that you are reappointed, and Mike, the same. Mike Barnett has been reappointed, and also Ben Robinson. You're back. You're back.
Yes, thank you. It's tough to say no to the mayor.
True.
Tough to say no.
All right. And we now also have our newest member, Jeff Johnson. He done several things with property here in Berea, property management, I should suppose, and generally oversees the Combs apartments and businesses. Okay. We're delighted to have you with us. And Jerry, we're going to ask if you would swear in. I don't know if we need to swear in Ben again or not, but whatever you want to do.
Stand and
Oh,
raise
okay.
your right hand, please.
Okay.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm, as the case may be, that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the Commonwealth, and be faithful and true to the Commonwealth of Kentucky so long as you continue a citizen thereof, and that you will faithfully execute to the best of your ability the office of Planning and Zoning Commissioner of the City of Berea, Kentucky, according to law, and do firmly further solemnly swear or affirm that since the adoption of the recent present Constitution, you being a citizen of this state, have not fought a duel with deadly weapons within this state nor out of it, nor have you sent or accepted a challenge to fight a duel with deadly weapons, nor have you acted as a second in carrying out a challenge, nor aided or assisted any person thus offending, so help you God.
I do.
Great. Thank you so very much. Appreciate that. Okay. Second item is, actually the fourth item now is the election of officers. So I'm going to turn that over to Amanda.
So we elect 3 different officers, a position for our chair, our vice chair, and a secretary. So in these roles, just so everyone understands what the role is before any nominations are made, the chairman generally acts as the leader of the meeting, makes sure that we stay on task, and would generally oversee the flow of the meeting, ask speakers to come forward, and again, generally direct that meeting. The vice chair would take that position only in the case that the chair was not available. And the secretary, in our case, does not take any minutes, does not take any records. That actually is the position that Melissa does for us. So in this body, the secretary only fills the chairman's position in the absence of the chair and the vice chair. So you get off pretty easy on the secretary position. So at this time, I will take nominations for the position of chairman. And I will open that floor.
I'd like to nominate Betty Olinger, please.
I'll second that.
Any other nominations for the position of chair? And Betty, do you accept that nomination?
I do.
Okay. All in favor, so I've got a first and a second, all in favor for Betty Olinger as chairman for Planning and Commission?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you so much, Miss Betty. At this time, I will open Nominations for the position of vice chair.
I think since Ben's back, he'll be a perfect person for that.
Ben, do you accept that nomination?
Sure, I accept.
Any other nominations? Okay, can I get a second on the nomination?
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And lastly, I would open the floor for the position of secretary.
I'm gonna go on limb here. I'm gonna go Greg Lakes. He might elbow me, but
I second that.
You make good.
Okay, Greg, do you accept that nomination?
That's far enough away that yes.
Twice removed?
I've been studying on this for the last week.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you very much for that. Go ahead.
Between me.
Yeah, right. That's right.
All right. Okay. Moving on with our agenda, please. We have the minutes of December 27th have been distributed. Do you have any corrections? Hopefully you've had a chance to read these.
I'll make a motion, we accept the Berea Planning Commission minutes as submitted for December the 27th, 2022.
Second that.
All right, it's been moved and second that we accept the minutes, the Berea Planning Commission minutes, December 27th, 2022. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. So moved. On our agenda, next, the old business, and we have none, it says, so that's great. And we're going to move on to new business. And our new business is a 131 Herndon Lane, New Idea Construction, minor plat approval. Someone to speak to that? Yes, ma'am. Okay. Please come up and state your name and
Jay Webb. I'm with Central Kentucky Land Surveying, here to represent New Idea Construction, Mr. Short. We have a minor plat. Our client came in, seemed very straightforward to us. He had 12 acres, wanting to make 3 4-acre tracts out of it, which is typically just a minor plat through Berea. I think the problem arose after submittal is we were unaware, as our client, that this property had already been submitted once as multiple tracts and was in some form denied, I feel like. I'm not exactly sure what happened here. Like I said, we weren't involved with that. So he had purchased the property, paid a pretty good price for it with intent to make three home tracts out of it for 4 acres. But we're here tonight to see if we can get an approval for that.
So I would like to add just a little bit more. So on your screen, just so you're aware where we are, this is Herndon Lane, and this is Richmond Road North. In 2020, there was a owner/developer who brought in this, so some of you will remember this,
I do.
who brought in this preliminary plat to subdivide. I think the total acreage there's about 30 acres. And so they proposed a subdivision of 8 lots along Herndon Lane. So we went through the review process. We actually gave them an approval contingent upon widening Herndon Lane by 5 feet. And that was really more just a safety measure because there are some hills along Herndon Lane and really kind of some low visibility spots. So we had asked that developer to widen that road and gave him an approval based on that. So he decided that he did not want to do that. And so he then brought in a minor plat, which just for the new members, The difference in a major and minor plat is major plats go through the planning commission for approval, and is when you are subdividing, where you end up with more than 3 lots. A minor plat is 3 or less lots in total and can be done as, generally speaking, as an administrative function. So it goes just through our office for approval, and then we get planning commission chairman's signature. So in this case, owner-developer decides that they do not want to widen that road, and they bring in a minor plat done as an administrative function to create these 3 lots. So you've got one that a 5-acre tract that faces Richmond Road. You have a 12-acre tract that's kind of that first part of Herndon Lane, and then a remainder tract of, I think, 19 acres. What I should have required is on this plat, a note stating that any further subdivision would be subject to planning commission approval. But at the time, the owner says to me, to my office, well, I'll just divide these 3 tracts, and then what keeps me from bringing this 12-acre tract in and further subdividing? To which we say, well, that's skirting the rules of the major subdivision plat, that's getting out of widening the road. No, sir, you cannot do that. So fast forward 2 years or 3, and this 12-acre tract now has changed hands 2 times.
Times, correct.
And the new Est property owner, which is New Idea Construction, again, unbeknownst to them, had no idea that they could not further subdivide this lot. So again, hindsight, I would have had them add a note to the plat, which I will do in the future, to say no further subdivision unless you seek planning commission approval. But that is essentially what the reason that the decision was made to come to planning commission this evening, so that planning commission could make that decision as to whether this 12-acre tract could be further subdivided. So the plat that they have submitted is this one that's in your packet, where they are seeking approval of 3 4-acre lots along Herndon Lane.
And if I could add,
Please.
we run into this quite a bit out in the Madison County Planning Commission areas. Typically, city lots are smaller, on sewer, 1/4-acre lots, things like that. So you don't see this as often in the city limits. Out in the county, we see it regularly, and we put a note very similar to what Amanda says on plats all the time. They consider it 3 properties as well for a minor. You get 2 lots and a remainder. And we regularly put a note when we do that, any further division of that property must be approved. It doesn't say you can't, it says it must be approved by the planning commission. If that note would have been on here, first thing, probably this purchaser and me as a surveyor would have been like, oh, wait, hey, there's some reason that note's there. But without it, we were just kind of blindsided by it. So, and the preliminary plat that was on earlier, that's not on file at a public record anywhere, like at the courthouse. So there's no way for the buyer or someone like me to even see that plat unless you were actively at this meeting. It's the only way you could have known.
Amanda, I think, and Ben was here. I think, well, the issue we was having there is if they had a subdivision there, school bus couldn't turn in or turn out there with that way that lane. It's one of the reasons we went against it. There just wasn't enough room for a school bus to go there and drop kids off and then turn around, or, to turn back on 25 or to come back in. I think that was one of the major issues I remember having on that.
I don't remember talking about a school bus specifically.
That I remember the turning lane or something like that.
But again, we did talk about just how it's kind of bad visibility, and
Yeah.
and then I think more so, the point of it was adding, again, at the time, we were talking about 8 driveways.
Driveways, exactly, yeah.
And so it's that stopping and starting when you're on kind of those hills where it's low visibility in front of you. You know, I will say that, I'm gonna go back to the aerial.
Yeah.
So
This
in
property probably lies on the best section of Herndon Lane for visibility. It's
Yeah, that's what I was
pretty,
gonna
it's
say.
straight and pretty much a constant grade in front of these tracks.
Also,
And,
if-
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I didn't mean to. What I can add too is that all the houses across the street and then up past that are basically the same type of lots.
They're actually smaller, they're 1 acre.
Some of the 1 acre small.
Yeah.
Just big enough for septic, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so across the street, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lots.
And
There are 7 homes, and there's actually more lots, some of those
Oh,
are vacant.
okay,
We
yeah, 7 homes.
Surveyed several of those through there.
Yeah.
Somebody had built a house and a barn more to your right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's the next statement I was gonna make. So there is
sorry,
a young man who bought this tract back here, this 19-acre tract. And, they, you know, I actually see him very often. And, you know, they bought 19 acres, planned to farm it and kind of homestead it. And, you know, I don't see any further subdivision there.
And then the other property to the west that's on the corner of Herndon and
Yeah, that's where I
25
was
was
trying to
part of this.
figure that.
Actually, Mr. Short just built a home and is living in it. And it would be very, very difficult to ever divide it any further. It's just covered, it's several acres, but it's basically a big gas line easement.
Yeah, that's right, that main transmission line, okay.
Yeah.
Well, and, you know, Mike, I think if, you know, my memory's, you know, is somewhat foggy on it, has been a few years, but I think that, you know, the problem was, you know, one, the narrowness of the road.
Yeah.
And I think two, you know, the potential population density that was gonna be put in there.
8 families at one time.
Yeah, was kind of a big deal, and which leads me to the question, so, you know, we're putting three lots in there, 3 homes, I presume. What about the issue of the road? Do we still see it as a commission as, you know, the road needing to be widened? Is that part of this plan?
I think when right now, because I live off that, I live on Old 25, that a lot of people's cutting across there, but I think when the bypass comes through, that's gonna really loosen up, because a lot of people's using that for a shortcut.
It
To
should.
get back in there,
you would
that
think.
majority of the people, yeah, because when I see people turn left, turn straight, go straight through, you know, for Paul Rails Farm, and then, Ballard Point, that's it, Ballard Point, there, you know, a lot of people there, and stuff, there's a lot of people's cutting across there, but I think when the bypass comes in, that road will be a lot less traffic, it's not much of a advantage cut off when they get the bypass in.
And we would be happy, if, you know, if you consider an approval on this, to put the note, definitely put the note on about any further division would have to come back to Planning Commission. My client has intentions of, he's a builder. He has intentions of building 3 homes and selling it as a home with 4 acres. Future buyers would have to come back if they wanted to make a divide and bounce it by you again. And as well as, you know, I think the entrances are of some concern. We'd be happy to put a note on the plat, and it might be part of the building process anyway, about having the entrances approved by the city. Whether you want it to be the city street department, the planning office, whoever, but let's get those entrances approved and in a good, safe location, so.
Yep, and they are, as part of the building permit, they would have to be approved by our Public Works
Yes.
Department.
But we'd be happy to put something on the plat as well to just make everyone aware that has
Yep.
to be done.
So just a question for me is, you know, Herndon Lane, yes, is in the city, but if my memory's correct, it's maintained by the county,
Correct.
right? So would that approval need to be from the
Oh.
county?
Wait, let me see. I've got a map, I've got a layer on my map. We might maintain a portion of it. No, it is county maintained, so yeah, he's right. We would need county road approval.
Okay, so we could
Yep, so we could add that to the
definitely add
plat.
that, a county road superintendent approval for the entrances.
Okay. All right.
So the 4 acre, give me a little context here. The 4
Okay.
acres are Starts at the corner of 25 and Herndon?
No, it doesn't hardly make it to the corner.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let me see what.
Do you have the previous minor plat, Amanda? You had it up there a minute ago. Just showed the 3 lots that are currently there.
I do.
That one, yeah.
So, yeah, it actually does come
Right, almost to it, yeah.
almost to the corner
Just
there.
almost, yeah.
So it's just the way it's slanted is what we're, okay.
So these lines are actually pretty accurate.
Yeah, I think there's a 30 or 40-foot gap between us and the actual corner.
That this is the 12-acre tract
Okay.
that they would want to subdivide into 3 4-acre tracts right there.
Okay. And then the,
That's almost down there at the corner, isn't it?
Yes.
and it drops down.
Yeah.
And you really wouldn't want an entrance close to that corner. You'd want to back it up closer to the eastern end of that first lot that we had proposed. And part of that, I'm sure, would be approved by the county road superintendent. So you don't want entrances coming out at a major intersection.
No.
so the driveways would be coming out onto Herndon.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it looks like they're proposing these lot lines, so they would have about 380 feet. That's some rough adding there, but about 380 feet of frontage for this first lot to be able to best determine where a driveway should be located.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Other questions or comments? Any other concerns?
So does the office feel like this is okay?
That's why I brought it to you all. Because the office didn't want to make the decision.
All right, good enough.
No, just the fact of the matter is, again, hindsight, I think that we were trying to avoid further subdivision, but I don't think that this owner, again, there was no way for them to know that. Unless they were at that hearing, or I'm sorry, at that particular planning commission meeting. Do I think that we can make it as safe as possible by looking at those road entrances? We can, but, I also think there was a reason that we asked for an increase of pavement width.
And at that point, there were 8 lots, I
There
think,
were 8
proposed, and
correct.
we're down to 3.
Down to 3.
Sounds like the plan for this particular piece of property was different for different owners. This plan that this owner has now is just adding 3 driveways, I don't think it's gonna make a huge big difference.
I personally wouldn't think you'll really notice 3
Yeah,
homes on that stretch of road. I mean, it shouldn't increase the traffic dramatically.
I wouldn't think dramatically at all.
Okay. Any other comments?
I'll make a motion, we
Thank you.
approve the minor plat approval, 131 Herndon Lane.
I'll second that.
It's been moved in second, but do we want to?
Yeah, I mean, I think we also may want to consider, adding in the stipulation that, the county road superintendent needs to approve and, authorize those entrances. So you may want to amend your motion.
And I have those in my notes to add to the plat, but yes.
And no
Yes.
further subdivision, and I probably shouldn't be the one to say that, but
Right.
Right, no further development.
Yes, I have in my notes to, no further divisions without planning commission approval, and all entrances must be approved by the county road superintendent prior to construction.
I apologize, I guess I thought all those things were being added as we were stating them, but yes, I I would amend the
The motion.
motion to have the county road supervisor's approval, and that the note would be applied, that there's no further subdivision of property
Without planning
without
commission approval.
planning commission approval.
And is it the seconder, is that good with you? Good, okay. All right. It's been moved in second that the minor plat for 131 Herndon Lane, New Idea Construction, will be approved with the stipulation of county road approval, county road superintendent approval for driveways, and that no further subdivision of the lots can occur without the approval of the Planning Commission in Berea.
Correct.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, is there anything else you want us to?
I do have one other
Okay.
quick item. I didn't have her put discussion on here, but I do want to mention that Jeff Reed had served on our Bluegrass Ad Regional Planning Council as our representative. So these meetings are being held every other month. So they actually had a meeting today, so there's 5 more meetings this year. And through the Bluegrass Ad, what they want to do is try to, discuss any kind of hot topics related to planning and zoning. And so they meet on Tuesdays at 2 o'clock, again, every other month, on the 4th Tuesday of the month. And so if anyone would like to serve on that committee, if you would just send me an email, let me know. They also offer it on Zoom, so that if you don't want to drive to Lexington, you have the option to do, to just join the meeting on Zoom. So that may help some of you time-wise. So again, just ask that if anyone would agree to serve on the Bluegrass Area Development District Regional Planning Council, please let me know. And that's all I have.
Okay, and I'm sure she would take acceptance right now if anyone
Oh, yeah,
wants
if someone
interested.
is so
You don't have to
moved.
wait.
If someone is so moved.
Someone's moved, right.
I think Martin said that he wanted to do that.
Martin has been our representative in the
Yes,
past. He might agree to do.
You might agree again. Okay. All right, if there's nothing else to come before the commission, I will accept a motion for adjournment.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Moved and second that we adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you guys so very much for the meeting tonight and for letting me be chair one more year.